up to that game, and if I would have told you on October 13th, the night before that Oregon game, if I would have told you, here's the script, bro. Here's the script. Here's how it's going to go down. They're going to beat Oregon tomorrow, and then they're going to, find some tough battles the rest of the way. There's going to be some close ones. They're not going to score an offensive touchdown against ASU, but they're going to find a way, right? They're going to have some scraps. They're going to fight with Utah. They're going to fight with Wazoo. They're going to fight in a rainstorm, reminiscent of Forrest Gump's thunder right down there in rain in Corvallis. But they're going to find a way and find a way and find a way. And then they're going to re-meet up with this Oregon team down in Vegas. And they're going to be 10-point underdogs. And yet, once again, they're going to find a way. And on this Monday, on December the 4th, we were going to be talking about the number 2 team in the country, 13-0, in a rematch with Sark and the boys from Texas down in the Sugar Bowl. Honestly, would you have ever believed it that day?
You kind of thought like this team was special. There's no doubt about it. But you thought that schedule that you just talked about was too much of a gauntlet to come out clean. Yep. I think you'd say, they'll probably lose one of these things. But you're right. I mean, they just every week find a way to win. And, during that tough stretch when there were some injuries, the defense had to step up. And boy, did they step up Friday night. They had to find their running game, which they have with Dylan Johnson. You knew some guys with Jalen McMillan out, some other younger receivers, Jeremy Bernard. Some of these guys had to step up. And they just, along the course of this season, how can you not believe in these guys, especially 10-point underdogs? Everybody in America was saying that the Ducks were going to take care of business Friday night, and Bo Nix was going to win the Heisman Trophy, and here we are. And I know Husky fans, you're a little pissed off this morning because you're not going to Pasadena, but let me tell you, this is the best path forward to winning a national championship. Texas, Sark, it's going to be a shootout. We're going to get this thing done in New Orleans. Michigan, Alabama, that Rose Bowl is going to be a bloodbath. And then 8 days later, we get to play that team after all the hoopla and all the travel. Boy, I'm not going to doubt this team, and I really like our chances to make history.
What was really cool, Damon, was Friday. Yeah, Friday we were Friday we were running around for our game and coaches meetings, and went over to UNLV and saw a guy, the head coach there, who worked for Gary Pinkel. So there were a lot of Don James, Gary Pinkel stories in our production meeting. Great guy, Barry Odom. And then we came back, and as a crew, we had a quick little lunch at a restaurant. And I walked in, and man, there were so many Husky fans. And you were down there in Vegas. There was so much purple. There was a lot of sad green too. A lot of the sad ducks all weekend long. And I'll get to that
big
later.
0 on their shirts.
Yep. 0 for 3 against Penix and DeBoer. Yes, they are. And but I walk in, and I see an old friend of ours. One of your old coaches, one of my old coaches. He was recruiting coordinator at the University of Washington during our time there. And I see Dick Baird and his wife and their entire family. And Dick was, so great, and came over, and the biggest hugs and so many fun. And then we just got to talking about the game. And this was before the kick. And he said, and this was, old coaches, old salts. Sometimes they just see these things. And he's like, you know what? The difference of our safeties tonight. The difference of having Asa Turner back, the difference of having Cam Fipikin-Lannon back, a healthier Thule, kind of rested him, and he's like, you just wait. And Dick was a linebacker at Wazoo, coached at UW forever, as I said, recruiting coordinator, just the greatest Husky fan you're going to ever find. Yep. But just in his eye, he knew as a defensive coach, like this defense was going to play so much better the second time around against these Ducks, and boy, did they ever.
Did they ever. I mean, that really was the difference in the game for me, was the run defense. And first off, the start they get off to. I mean, you take half the clock off on that first drive. You lose the toss, and you're almost like, okay, this is good. Our offense is going to get a first crack at this thing and have a chance to set the tone for this football game. And they took over 7 minutes off that first quarter on that opening drive. I know we only got 3 points, but that sent a message. And then the 3 and out. And the run defense all night. They did an amazing job bottling up their run game. And Oregon's offense never really got in rhythm. They had a couple big plays. Yep. The Bo Nix run, obviously the pass before that. But, they never really got it going and got into a rhythm. And they were tackling machines. They were fresh. They did a great job of rotating their linebackers. I mean, they're 5-6 deep at linebacker if you really look at this thing. And that run defense Coach Baird is right. And yes, Coach Baird is the best. 15 years, you remember as our recruiting coordinator, but what other guy could coach linebackers and wide receivers? Only Coach Baird, because, he truly is. And
what other guy could be a kook and come over and be the biggest Husky?
You're right. Just the best. And to this day, one of the best ambassadors to our program for decades. So Coach Baird was right. And then to get those kids back on the back end of that defense for sure, because they'll come down and run fit and hit you in the mouth. And so that was what a performance by our defense. And then, but don't short this offense too.
Oh, no.
A Jalen McMillan, a healthy Jalen McMillan. Yes. You're getting behind that secondary. And then obviously Dylan Johnson, that run game, and Penix was beautiful. Throwing in a dome, as you know, Brock, playing in Indy all those years. There's nothing better for a quarterback.
And he's going to get to do it again. He's going to get to do it when you talk about, once again, the matchup. And I know Pasadena's beautiful. And I know after that win, that was certainly, I'm sure, some flights were booked, like we're going to be in Pasadena. And then, well, hold on a second. Alabama comes around, beats Georgia, changes some of that picture. But as you said, it is still a pretty good path. Hey, Maura, give me cut number 3 here. Give me the finale. You were up in a suite. You were hanging with all your Husky folks. I think you were probably hanging with the AD at that point. I went and watched some of it, and then we had to finish up our production meeting. We're watching it in the hotel, the fourth quarter, all of it in the production meeting. And when Dylan Johnson, and I saw Justin Barnes was in a bar. He was rocking and rolling. Which one? Where were you? Go ahead.
I was a big time on the Ave, Big Time Brewing.
Oh, Big Time Brewing on the Ave with all the Husky fans. And on 3rd and whatever it was, 7, just running out the clock. I'm counting down the seconds. Okay, they're going to run another play. They're going to have to punt the ball with about 18 seconds. And then old number 7 just decided to finish the Ducks.
One more play to bleed the clock down, and then you would expect punt it. Johnson makes a cut. Forget about that. Johnson, first down, slides down, and the Washington Huskies win the final Pac-12 Championship and punch a ticket to the college football playoff.
I don't even need the siren, Maura.
It's too early.
I'm not going to bark yet. I'm not going to bark. I got to save my voice. I'm not going to happen. Not with your voice ailing. But, bro, they did it, man. They finished.
Yeah.
And we said it on Friday. We got to run the break here. You'll have 3 hours to talk all about it. But we said it on Friday. Herbie joined us. And, in fact, I texted Herbie afterwards. It was one of the first things he said. Remember this morning? Talking on the radio show about all those close games, about all the grit that was developed, about having to overcome. And, Damon, you said all of the injuries and all the things that happens over the course of a long college football season. And it was just going to make them tougher mentally, physically, emotionally. And when the moment got the biggest, they were not going to back down. They were not going to tuck tail. They were going to rise. They were going to rise up because they had all that fortitude of all those close games. And those Ducks, they didn't. The Ducks didn't. The Ducks had 2 one-score games, 3 all season. And they just happened to go 1-2 against the Huskies. Damon.